Section 6 of the Saga of Gunnlaug the Worm-tongue and Raven the Skald, by Anonymous. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Phil Schempf. How Gunnlaug and Raven agreed to go east to Norway to try the matter again. Now after these things were gone by, men rode home from the Thing, and Gunnlaug dwelt at home at Gilsbank. On a morning when he awoke, all men had risen up, but he alone still lay abed. He lay in a shut bed behind the sheets. Now into the hall came 12 men, all fully armed, and who should be there but Raven, Onund's son. Gunnlaug sprang up forthwith, and got to his weapons. But Raven spake. "Thou art in risk of no hurt this time," quoth he, "but my errand hither is what thou shalt now hear. Thou didst call me to a holmgang last summer at the Althing, and thou didst not deem matters to be fairly tried therein. Now I will offer thee this, that we both fare away from Iceland, and go abroad next summer, and go on holm in Norway, for there our kinsmen are not like to stand in our way." Gunnlaug answered, "Hail to thy words, stoutest of men! This thine offer I take gladly. And here, Raven, mayest thou have cheer as good as thou mayest desire." "It is well offered," said Raven, "but this time we shall first have to ride away." Thereon they parted. Now the kinsmen of both sore misliked them of this, but could in no wise undo it, because of the wrath of Gunnlaug and Raven, and after all that must betide that drew towards. Now it is to be said of Raven that he fitted out his ship in Leiruvag. 2 men are named that went with him, sisters' sons of his father Onund, one hight Grim, the other Olaf, doughty men both. All the kinsmen of Raven thought it great scathe when he went away, but he said he had challenged Gunnlaug to the holmgang, because he could have no joy soever of Helga, and he said withal that one must fall before the other. So Raven put to sea, when he had wind at will, and brought his ship to Thrandheim, and was there that winter, and heard naught of Gunnlaug that winter through. There lie abode him the summer following, and still another winter was he in Thrandheim, at a place called Lifangr. Gunnlaug Worm-tongue took ship with Hallfred Troublous Skald, in the north at the plain. They were very late ready for sea. They sailed into the main when they had a fair wind, and made Orkney a little before winter. Earl Sigurd Lodverson was still lord over the isles, and Gunnlaug went to him, and abode there that winter, and the earl held him of much account. In the spring the earl would go on warfare, and Gunnlaug made ready to go with him. And that summer they harried wide about the South Isles and Scotland's firths, and had many fights. And Gunnlaug always showed himself the bravest and doughtiest of fellows, and the hardiest of men, wherever they came. Earl Sigurd went back home early in the summer, but Gunnlaug took ship with chapmen, sailing for Norway, and he and Earl Sigurd parted in great friendship. Gunnlaug fared north to Thrandheim, to Hladir, to see Earl Eric, and dwelt there through the early winter. The earl welcomed him gladly, and made offer to Gunnlaug to stay with him, and Gunnlaug agreed thereto. The earl had heard already how all had befallen between Gunnlaug and Raven, and he told Gunnlaug that he laid ban on their fighting within his realm. Gunnlaug said the earl should be free to have his will herein. So Gunnlaug abode there the winter through, ever heavy of mood. How the 2 foes met, and fought at Dingness. But on a day in spring Gunnlaug was walking abroad, and his kinsman Thorkel with him. They walked away from the town till on the meads. Before them they saw a ring of men, and in that ring were 2 men with weapons fencing, but one was named Raven, the other Gunnlaug, while they who stood by said the Icelanders smote light, and were slow to remember their words. Gunnlaug saw the great mocking hereunder, and much jeering was brought into the play, and withal he went away silent. So a little while after he said to the earl that he had no mind to bear any longer the jeers and mocks of his courtiers about his dealings with Raven, and therewith he prayed the earl to give him a guide to Lifangr. Now before this the earl had been told that Raven had left Lifangr and gone east to Sweden; therefore he granted Gunnlaug leave to go, and gave him 2 guides for the journey. Now Gunnlaug went from Hladir with 6 men to Lifangr, and on the morning of the very day, whereas Gunnlaug came in the evening, Raven had left Lifangr with 4 men. Thence Gunnlaug went to Veradale, and came always in the evening to where Raven had been the night before. So Gunnlaug went on till he came to the uppermost farm in the valley, called Sula, wherefrom had Raven fared in the morning. There he stayed not his journey, but kept on his way through the night. Then in the morning at sunrise they saw one another. Raven had got to a place where were 2 waters, and between them flat meads, and they are called Gleipnir's meads. But in one water stretched a little ness called Dingness. There on the ness Raven and his fellows 5 together took their stand. With Raven were his kinsmen, Grim and Olaf. Now when they met, Gunnlaug said, "It is well that we have found one another." Raven said he had naught to quarrel with therein. "But now," says he, "thou mayest choose as thou wilt, either that we fight alone together, or that we fight all of us man to man." Gunnlaug said that either way seemed good to him. Then spake Raven's kinsmen, Grim and Olaf, and said that they would little like to stand by and look on the fight, and in likewise spake Thorkel the Black, the kinsman of Gunnlaug. Then said Gunnlaug to the earl's guides, "Ye shall sit by, and aid neither side, and be here to tell of our meeting." And so they did. So they set on, and fought dauntlessly, all of them. Grim and Olaf went both against Gunnlaug alone, and so closed their dealings with him, that Gunnlaug slew them both, and got no wound. This proves Thord Kolbein's son in a song that he made on Gunnlaug the Worm-tongue.
Grim and Olaf, great hearts, in Gondul's din with thin sword, first did Gunnlaug fell there. Ere at Raven fared he, bold with blood bedrifted. Bane of 3 the Thane was, warlord of the wave horse, wrought for menfolk's slaughter.
Meanwhile Raven and Thorkel the Black, Gunnlaug's kinsman, fought until Thorkel fell before Raven and lost his life. And so at last all their fellowship fell. Then they 2 alone fought together, with fierce onsets and mighty strokes, which they dealt each the other, falling on furiously without stop or stay. Gunnlaug had the sword Ethelred's gift, and that was the best of weapons. At last Gunnlaug dealt a mighty blow at Raven, and cut his leg from under him. But none the more did Raven fall, but swung round up to a tree stem, whereat he steadied the stump. Then said Gunnlaug, "Now thou art no more meet for battle, nor will I fight with thee any longer, a maimed man." Raven answered, "So it is," said he, "that my lot is now all the worser lot. But it were well with me yet, might I but drink somewhat." Gunnlaug said, "Bewray me not if I bring thee water in my helm." "I will not bewray thee," said Raven. Then went Gunnlaug to a brook, and fetched water in his helm, and brought it to Raven. But Raven stretched forth his left hand to take it, but with his right hand drave his sword into Gunnlaug's head, and that was a mighty great wound. Then Gunnlaug said, "Evilly hast thou beguiled me, and done traitorously wherein I trusted thee." Raven answers, "Thou sayest sooth, but this brought me to it, that I begrudged thee to lie in the bosom of Helga the Fair." Thereat they fought on, recking of naught, but the end of it was that Gunnlaug overcame Raven, and there Raven lost his life. Then the earl's guides came forward, and bound the head wound of Gunnlaug, and in meanwhile he sat and sang: "O thou sword storm stirrer, Raven stem of battle, famous fared against me fiercely in the spear din. Many a flight of metal was borne on me this morning by the spear wall's builder, ring bearer on hard Dingness." After that they buried the dead, and got Gunnlaug onto his horse thereafter, and brought him right down to Lifangr. There he lay 3 nights, and got all his rights of a priest, and died thereafter, and was buried at the church there. All the men thought it great scathe of both these men, Gunnlaug and Raven, amid such deeds as they died. End of Section 6.